Welcome to the Games and Junk Podcast. My name is Jason Arriola, and joining me today for episode 85 is John Lucero.
Hello.
And Franky Ordaz.
Hello.
Hey, Franky. Man, you were switching up accents on me left and right. You went French on Messenger here the other day with me. now you're doing the British thing.
Yeah, I'm fluid. It's good. I'm embracing what Bruce Lee once said. Be like water, my friend.
I like that you kind of made an accent for a second, and you thought against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you thought against it.
I love the lack of commitment to that one. Because I kind of bailed out on your own bit there halfway.
Yeah, you're like, maybe not on this one.
Yeah. It's like, I could probably get away with the British thing, but maybe if I did the Asian thing, like the ancient Chinese wisdom sounding accent, I might. I don't know if I can pull that one off. Yeah. Maybe let's just bail. Jump ship.
I can't pull. I can't pull any accent off. Yeah. No, they just all sound horrible in the end.
Oh, come on. A French one's easy to do because all you have to do is oh.
Yeah, but that's not really doing an accent.
Sure it is. If they speak like that, and then you just say it like that.
That's just a Simpsons bit.
You just dropped the last letter of the word.
That's true.
Oui.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
All right. Well, we're getting all the timely references in here on this episode. Jesus God.
Yeah, really timely song references.
You know what? I think the cover image now is going to have to be this. Frank, I don't know if I ever showed you this shirt I got from GameStop when I was working there. It is. I think it'll fit in perfectly here. It's Reggie Fils-May's head on Bruce Lee's body, where he's holding like nunchucks, but it's the Wiimote and the nunchuck.
Oh, I don't think you've shown me that because that sounds amazing.
It might be my favorite shirt that I don't wear because it is like a cheap giveaway shirt that I think Sasha, our Nintendo rep, gave us, and it is itchy as shit. But man, it's a cool design.
Shit, I want that.
It's a good shirt.
It's a pretty dope shirt. So, like I said, it's just hanging in my closet, but it's kind of just one of those things. It's like, oh, this is cool to look at. I mean, I guess it's like my Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past shirt I got when I was a kid that has been hanging in my closet for 20 plus years now. So
you just need to frame it. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, I probably should, honestly. I mean, it's a little what's the word I'm looking for? Faded, I guess, because I actually wore it back in the day quite a bit. So anyway, fascinating topics here. Stupid video games we've had over the years. So speaking of fascinating topics here, let's go ahead and move on. Let's save this. Let's save the big one for last. John, why don't you talk about Wolfenstein II real quick for us?
Okay. Yeah, I've been playing Wolfenstein II, the new Colossus. About 4 hours in, and this one, the big like setting for this one is they're going to be in the U.S. for most of the game. But unfortunately, I just got to the U.S. like 2 missions ago. So the first it has a bit of a cold open. I guess you're in you start out with you in a wheelchair and having to fight a bunch of Nazis while in a wheelchair, which is like in concept really really cool, but turns out controlling a guy in a wheelchair isn't the easiest thing to do in the world.
You might say it's almost like a handicap.
Yeah, you might say that. It's especially when you move this game. I felt like this game. You move like the character movement is just a little too fast for the corridors you're in most of the time in this game, at least in my opinion. Okay. It's kind of like wants to be Doom speed, but it isn't the openness that Doom is. So it's I find myself like running into walls and corners a little more than I'd like to. It's not horrible. It's just it feels a little too fast for me for like the level based on the level design. And now just add that on to being in a wheelchair too. So it's while again it is awesome killing a bunch of Nazis in a wheelchair, it is gameplay wise it could have been a little better. This game's really violent. It turns out
not the follow to a game where you could dual wield shotguns.
Yeah, it turns out really violent. You remember how you had a knife in that game for stealth kills? This game they replaced that with an axe, or a hatchet.
Okay.
So now your stealth kills generally involve. Yeah, stealth kills really generally evolve into you lopping their legs off and then hitting them in the face with an axe, or different variations of that.
I think
So
I think Blaskowitz is missing the point of stealth.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, if I feel like I get caught many times when I'm trying to do stealth kills because they're so over the top that the enemies have time to see me doing them. But I forgive it because it's hilarious, but it is kind of annoying because this game is hard. Like, you die so fast, and it really wants to be a stealth game, and I feel like the stealth is very unforgiving. So it's been rough going for a little bit. I guess it might be based on the difficulty I picked. See, I didn't pick the default one. The default, there are like 7 difficulties in this game.
What?
Yeah, which is, and one of them's locked. But
please tell me it's not the easy one, because God, I'll be in trouble.
No, it starts on the second difficulty, and then there's one below that, which is so I took it as very, very easy, normal, hard, very hard, not fun anymore after that.
Why are you doing this to me? Why am I bothering?
Yeah. So I picked what I assume would be normal difficulty based on the description, and I played the first one, and I play a lot of shooters. So, I mean, I beat Doom on Ultra Violence, which is like the hard mode of that game, and I thought that was the best difficulty for that game. But, so it might maybe I need to crank the difficulty down. I don't know. It has been pretty hard. So
ooh, you're turning into me.
Because I want to see this story, and because the story is, again, really well done. It's very pulpy, but the characters are really well written. It still to this day impresses me that they make B.J. Blazkowicz a character I care about. That's like the dude from the Wolfenstein dude is this deep character, and they actually very early in the game they dig into like more of his backstory as a kid, and we went through some shit. His dad is not a good dude. It's like he does. So that. Yeah, that's like pretty early on. So it has a pretty dark opening, more so than the first one. The first one had that choice you make at the end of the first area, but before that it was basically just storming a beach, which is as a lot of World War II games do. So, but yeah, the story's been good. I just met up with the Resistance in Manhattan, Manhattan is bombed out. It was nuked during the war, so that's kind of interesting seeing it like that. You don't really get you only see a very small section of it. You don't get a good sense of the destruction, but you do see a bunch of corpses and stuff. And then one of the people you meet up survived the attack. She was underground, and she describes like what it was like, what the aftermath was like. Turns out not good. Not a good situation.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
It seemed to be all like rainbow and lollipops and unicorns farting lollipops.
Like she just one story she describes is just. Whew, whew.
I
wish I knew how to put that into into type so I could make that the title. Just poof.
Yeah. So far, I'm enjoying it. It hasn't put its hooks into me as much. I think because the surprise of how good the first one is worn off. So I'm gonna finish it. It's like I think it's like 15 hours long, and I haven't unlocked side missions either, which apparently are in the game too. So what I understand is a lot of post game content too. So I haven't got to any of that, but it's supposed to be a pretty sizable single player experience for people. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I mean 14 hours for a single player shooter is pretty good chunk. Of time there.
Yeah, that's a pretty long campaign by itself. And then apparently there's a lot of reason to play through it again. So like get 30 hours out of this game pretty easily, from what I understand. Yeah, stick with it. See what happens. I want to watch more cutscenes. They're always really good, and I want to kill some Nazis. You know, it's and I want to see this Nazi their version of Nazi America. I've seen stuff. I mean, it's been done before, like Man in the High Castle and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I like alt history a lot. I've always liked alt history things, so I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean
it's good games.
Their version of Nazi Europe in general was pretty interesting. So.
Yeah, like the Beatles being part of Nazi propaganda, because they were in Germany at that point in time, and they were actually in Germany at that point in time, so that was kind of a nice touch. The Jimi Hendrix stuff, there's a lot of cool alt history stuff in those games. Yeah, and the story carries forward. Yeah, I'm really happy that they've kept that quality at least. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of into like a World War II mindset because I finally started watching like the second season of, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the show Manhattan.
No,
I am not.
No, I don't worry about it. There wasn't never really a big audience for it. I think the reason it got canceled was like its second season did end up with like maybe 400,000 viewers an episode at its peak. So it's a really good show, but basically it's just like the Manhattan Project and a dramatized version of the Manhattan Project. But it's been sort of like putting me back in the mood for like World War II stuff. So I think this is kind of coming at a good time where it's like, oh, cool, this will be kind of interesting to see like what would have happened if they had won. And because I think the only other game I've seen where like it took on like, Nazis invading or having invaded the United States is that Turning Point, Fall of Liberty.
Oh yeah, that game.
Oh God, that was awful.
But wasn't there like that time traveling game that you went back in the Civil War too? I'm sure there was stuff like that too.
Dark something, I think. God.
Yeah, you're right. It is dark. It is dark something.
Darkest of Days.
Yeah.
That was,
I don't know if they had anything like that.
That was DUM dumb, man. That's all I can say.
But yes, it seems like they did the setting well. I mean, it turns out if Nazis won, there'd be mechs pretty quick. So, we'd have those at least, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah.
It's like there really wouldn't be any people of color or anything anymore. But hey, we'd have mechs. It'd be good.
Yeah, it is still satisfying killing Nazis in that game because they're Nazis and there's no redeeming
awful.
quality to a Nazi.
Yeah,
there's
it just
nothing.
feels like one of those come to the dark side. We have mechs.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but you're Nazis and you don't have anything else. So no.
So no.
But I mean, maybe if Japan had won altogether, then they would have gotten us mechs anyway.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's where maybe the mechs are coming from. It's like Japanese stuff because I mean they seem to always be the ones that like are into into that stuff. So maybe it's part of the Axis powers. What happened to Japan in this? I don't even remember. Did they mention anything about Japan in the first or the last one?
I don't recall anything about Japan.
No.
You definitely don't fight any Japanese or meet any Japanese. I don't think.
Okay.
It's all very Europe focused. So. Maybe this one. I don't know. Again, I'm still pretty early on, based on what I've heard. So. And
they have said that they're kind of like planning this out as a trilogy. So I mean, maybe we'll see part of the rest of the Axis coming into the front. That would be kind of interesting.
Maybe.
Take.
I'm curious if they're gonna tease Mecha Hitler or they're gonna save him for the third one. Save him completely for the third one. He's gonna be there. He's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he's the new Colossus.
Or maybe they're talking about the X-Men.
Really makes you think.
Maybe they make the X-Men.
Maybe they make the X-Men.
Yeah.
Maybe it becomes an X-Men game.
Yeah, there we go. The new Colossus. Yeah. But is he? I don't know. Would he still be Russian?
That's a good. All history's crazy, man. You never know. Maybe Colossus wouldn't be Russian.
And then that means Superman then is going to be a Nazi propagandist thing and everything, right?
Yeah. Now all comics are involved. Marvel, DC.
Yeah, why not? Why not? It's all bullshit. Who cares? Just throw it all in there together.
That Red Sun stuff is cool. That's really interesting comic stuff. The idea of Superman landing in Soviet Russia instead of the U.S. is really interesting.
I haven't read those, but it seems super interesting.
I think I read through like maybe the first few pages of that, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe I'll get back to it someday. And I think that was the last I thought of it, honestly. But
it's cool seeing all the Red Sun versions of all the characters, all the different takes on them. Yeah. A game or a movie based on that would be really interesting. Would be really promising.
I don't know about a movie. I mean, admittedly, I don't think DC's had the best track record of.
Their animated movies are fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, if they went animated.
Yeah, all their
That's definitely where they excel at.
Okay.
If you haven't seen Flashpoint, you should watch Flashpoint. The movie's really, really good. It's
No, the last one I watched was like the one where like Batman's old.
Oh, Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
I like both parts of that a lot, but
Yeah, it got real dark, man.
Oh yeah, it's that comic's real fucked up.
I was not expecting that because, in my head I'm still thinking like Batman the animated series from when I was a kid, and then kind of watching this I'm like, oh man, this is some dark shit.
Yeah, I mean
okay.
that Batman show the animated series had some dark moments for sure, but it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Another
dark.
level.
So
yeah. But yeah,
All right,
I recommend Flashpoint just for anyone out there.
what is
Yeah,
what covers the Flash? I take it.
Yeah, it's him going back and it's what if he went back in time and stopped his mom from dying, and and how it fucked up the entire timeline. But yeah, there's a lot of cool seeing how different heroes turn out, and some being like a war between the Amazonians and the Atlanteans breaking out, and so yeah. And how they're basically destroying their world, using their war, destroying everything else, just like collateral damage. It's interesting. It's violent, really violent too. Really violent movie.
So the Amazonians would probably win because all they would have to do is just not go in the ocean, right?
I mean, the Atlanteans can flood land. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought all they could do was talk to fish. So.
Hey, don't fuck with fish, man. They're in their element.
Fishman ain't nothing to fuck with.
Yeah. That's what Wu-Tang said.
Yep.
That's what they were saying.
Yep. I got it. Don't you worry. So, all right, let's get off from this. I don't know how we got derailed on this nonsense, but okay.
Wolfenstein 2 seems good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Wolfenstein 2 seems pretty dope. I'm probably gonna go pick it up tomorrow. Actually, Target's having a buy two get one free sale. So, and since Switch games are off that list, Mario's not going to be on that pickup run. So, I think Wolfenstein deserves that. So, anyway, Frankie, you've been playing Flame of the Flood?
Yes, I have. I haven't played a whole lot of it. I want to say maybe 2-3 hours ish.
It's probably enough time to got a good sense of it.
Oh yeah, I think so. I think I'm finally starting to get in the swing of things. It's it feels like it's what's the word? Procedurally generated.
Mm-hmm.
And the basic core of it is you kind of look for items on an island. You hop on your raft, go to another island, look for more stuff to build up your raft, and pretty much just kind of survive as long as you can. There's even an endless mode in it. But I want to play through the story to kind of see what happens, even though there doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of story there. You're just kind of given tasks that you need to do.
Okay.
And you come across some people, and I don't really like the art style. It's interesting. It's kind of creepy, but I don't know. It doesn't really jive with me. But there are times that it's super colorful, and other times that it's really dark. Like literally, like when it's nighttime and raining, you cannot see anything. And you have like a little light that you have, and to kind of see like, right, are there items around here that I can pick up and whatnot. But it's relatively straightforward. Have either of you guys play How to Survive?
No. Is it like Don't Starve? I played Don't Starve.
It's a little like that. It's kind of like that.
I did play How to Survive. It was on the 360, probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it makes me think more of that. It's like an isometric view. You're just going around trying to survive, but it kind of there's no zombies in
How
it.
to Survive is, or
no, it's very not.
Okay.
There are some actiony parts. Actually, that was like my first death came about because I saw a wild boar,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to attack. How do I attack? And I'm trying to figure it out.
Boars are dangerous, man. You don't don't just go.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm gonna figure out on the fly with this boar. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
You go with like a squirrel or something at first.
Well, that was the thing. Is like I couldn't find a way to attack any other animals. They all ran away from me super quick. So this is the first thing that was like standing there, like, obviously.
You know why
ready
it was
to
standing
attack.
there? It knew it was gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
Man, you got fucked
And
up.
it
it's
did.
a boar.
It just
They kill people.
Yeah, that's what happened. So it charges after me, right?
Yeah.
And after it hits me, then a little message pops up that says, "Oh, to run, hold down the right bumper." Like that would have been useful.
Great, thanks. Appreciate that. Good heads up. We could have used that. Oh, I don't know, 2 minutes ago. Thanks.
Yeah, and it was funny because earlier I was trying to figure out how to run, and I kind of just thought, "Oh, well, I guess there's no real running,"
When you die, do you start over completely? Is that
Well,
what we're going
no,
at?
so I didn't die then. I got like a really bad gash.
Oh,
And-
you died later.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
this was actually, it was kind of cool because, I'm trying to find something to stitch myself up. If you actually go in the menu, you can see your status, and it'll actually tell you what you need in order to cure that status. So you're not like completely blind, but sometimes finding that items can be hard, which is what happened to me.
Kinda
I couldn't
sounds like
patch
that.
myself up.
It kind of sounds like a long dark. Except
Well,
that was
yeah.
a little more vague.
It felt Oregon Trail-y in the end because I ended up getting a staph infection because I couldn't heal my gash, and that eventually led to sepsis.
I'm gonna say,
No.
see, that's
No.
why you need universal health care, so you don't have to. So all your staff has insurance. I'm sorry, that was terrible. I'm gonna go ahead and just exit off the podcast. Bye, guys. I'm back.
So yeah,
Sorry.
so that's what ended up killing me. I actually was like running low on food too, and like the first wolf I ever saw showed up, and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna die right here. And so like I went to sleep in some bus, and I was like, okay, maybe if I just go to sleep, he'll be gone in the morning. I can hobble away. But in my sleep, I ended up dying. So.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for but in my sleep, he figured out how to open up the door and ate me while I was asleep.
I thought you were gonna say I saw this wolf. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die right here, and then he walked away because he didn't want to. He had better things to do.
Or he saw you and he's like, oh, that's infected. Nope, see ya. I'm not catching what he's got.
You should have lied and said the boar killed you. That's a way lamer story than a boar killing you.
I got gored by a boar.
So when you died of sepsis, did you have to start over completely?
So it gives you the option if you want to start over completely, or I don't know how, but like the reasoning behind it, but it gave me a checkpoint at some point.
Oh.
So you get to you won't lose everything every time, but after playing a few more times, dying a few more times later, I guess I got far enough to get to the next checkpoint. I don't know if it's based off distance or maybe quests that you complete or specific items you get. I'm not sure. It seems random. But yeah, so you can, I think it saves all those checkpoints too. So you can, as long as you continue playing, you can go back to any one of those checkpoints that you died at. So if you get a few checkpoints saved up, and you start at the last one, and it turns out you're just in a really bad position, and that's just leading to your death every time. You can go back even further.
Oh, okay.
And
I was just gonna ask if it.
try to
Yeah.
fix that.
So yeah, that multiple checkpoint thing is good because you don't want to put yourself in a fail state where you just can't do anything.
Yeah.
Basically.
Exactly, and it's not always the same. So if you go back to a checkpoint, I mean, there's no guarantee that you're gonna get the same spots, even the ones that were like right in front of you. Because the first time that I reloaded up a checkpoint, I had all the same stuff that I was able to get. And then when I died again, I go over to those areas to try to get all the good stuff real quick, and it's all completely different. So,
Oh, nice. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
so it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say because it would probably get a little rote doing it that way. Like it'd just be like, oh, just a matter of like trial and error instead of like the
Yeah.
survivability thing.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It's really fun because it keeps you guessing, and it's pretty dang difficult. It's there are times that you just make one little mistake. Like
Like talking
usually,
to a boar.
yeah, exactly. Like the thing is, I finally figured out how I could kill boars. But then
With a weapon?
Yeah, you can set
Yeah.
up traps later on. I still
Oh.
haven't gotten a weapon, like an actual weapon, but I know you can craft a bow. I just never had got the materials for that. But you can set up traps for rabbits, and then you can actually set up like a spear trap. So all you have to do
Jesus.
is go to an animal to cross through it, and you'll take out a boar or a wolf. No
Is
problem.
it like a pit with spears in it?
No, it's like this it's kind of like a tripwire that sets off a spear and then it
Jesus.
hooks it. Yeah, like the animation
All right.
was pretty gnarly. I was like, dang, that
God
was,
damn, that's elaborate.
Yeah. it was pretty awesome.
Well, but see, my thing was like, if you had a pit, and then they fell into it with all the spears in the pit, then my concern would be like, well, now I have to get down there, and there's spears down there.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
What did I
That's
just
why you
do?
That's why you build a ladder. Or can't use a ladder. That's why you have a ladder.
No, you can't use a ladder.
Yeah.
I just used all my wood making spears, man. I can't possibly come
There's
up
more,
with a ladder.
there's more wood. It's like you're in the wilderness.
Oh, my axe broke.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, the axe broke.
This is the. Oh my God! Make another one.
you don't have an axe. You can get a knife. So
See, you
there's-
don't have an axe, Jason. You don't even have an axe. You're
Are you gonna try to cut down a tree with a fucking knife?
No, that's the thing. You can't cut
You'll-
down trees.
you'll
You have
die
to
of boredom.
find wood out there. As far as I can tell, that's the only way for you to get wood. But you can cut like what are they called? Just like small plants. You can get those and be able to turn them into like twine and whatnot.
Saplings, like saplings, or
Yeah, saplings. There you go. So yeah, there's a lot of item management that goes on. I was actually really happy to finally get to making traps because you don't have a whole lot of space in your inventory. So once I found once I was finally able to craft some of these traps and I found some rabbits, I was like, oh, I'm making a freaking pouch. I'm doing this right now. So I stayed in one area for I want to say it was 15 minutes. Normally it's like a quick 5 minutes in and out an area, but I stayed there to make sure that I can catch enough rabbits. It was only 2, but it takes a minute just to be sure I can get some more inventory space. So, but yeah, I highly recommend it. It was very fun. Just it's not easy per se, but it's still it's there's not like a steep learning curve to get into it. So I mean, it took me maybe about an hour to feel like, okay, I'm kind of getting the hang of this. And at this point, there's still so much more items that I need to unlock. I've only unlocked maybe a third of them.
Okay.
So
See that?
Yes, so I'm
that
looking-
vagary is what turned me off of Don't Starve.
mhm.
Yeah, they really want you to die and don't starve. They really actively hate the player and don't starve.
Oh yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
not really a fan of that Tim Burton cartoon look. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
That's fair.
okay. It's okay. I like some of the monster designs more than others.
See, and this one kind of reminded me of what's that movie? Coraline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you see the animations, it's kind of like a 2D Coraline.
okay.
Okay.
So I mean, it's interesting, but I don't know. It didn't really jive with me. Normally, I'm okay with that stuff, but I don't know. It feels a little off in this one because it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be very horror like. It's just a survival game, So it just feels a little bit out of place. But there's not. That being said, there's nothing really wrong with it.
Okay.
The music to it is pretty good too. Just to say, I mean, it's not something that I'm really into, but what they did with the music, it feels like it fits perfectly for the game.
Okay.
And you kind of notice the way that the music starts coming in, and I don't know, I think that really lends something to it. So gives it a good atmosphere.
That's good.
You know me, I'm a sucker for a good soundtrack.
Oh, really? I didn't know you like music, Jason.
No, not at all. I'm not into sound design of video games at all. Not in the least.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go ahead and hide my iTunes folder here with 500 and something Falcom Sound Team albums. So anyway, okay. So real quick, I've got one more game. I guess this segment here is going to be the Switch segment because you were playing Flame of the Flood on Switch. I don't think we mentioned that. And I've been playing Wulverblade on the Switch, and that is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, basically. That is, let's just say, too hard for the Joy-Con. I was having a very difficult time playing this game with the Joy-Con. I switched over to the Pro Controller and had a much easier time. It's still difficult, but I really like this game. It is violent as hell. Can't really play it in front of the kids now. And this was a perfect game for, I thought, the Switch, because, I can, play it on the Joy-Con, or, play it in handheld mode and use the Joy-Con. Man, that Joy-Con, it just does not, I don't know. I don't think it does well with, like, fast action stuff.
So, like...
Yeah.
So what do you have the most trouble with? Like you say, you can't play it on handheld mode either? Just, like, you can't use the Joy-Con at all for this?
Oh, you can. It just... it's difficult. I want to say it's, like, the button configuration for me is the issue. It just doesn't feel right. I could never really, like, where I was like dodging attacks and stuff more easily on the Pro Controller. I tried doing it back in the handheld mode, and I was just getting my ass handed to me. Like, a boss I beat on the first try with the Pro Controller, I went back to try to get a higher score with the Joy-Con, and I think I got to the boss with 1 life left and half my health. So I'm just
not being able to play it in the handheld mode is kind of a big turn off.
I agree. Now, again, this could just be my hang up, but it's just that Pro Controller feels so much better for this, and I think we've talked about this before, but I'm not a huge fan of the Pro Controller. I like it. It just feels like an Xbox S controller.
Yeah, it's a solid controller.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just when it's sitting up against the Xbox One or the Xbox One pad and the DualShock 4, it's like this is
agreed.
Yeah, it's an acceptable controller. It's just not as good as those two. So
yes,
but yeah, it's like I said, it's violent as hell. It adds if you're into like the history of that era and that time, or era and area, it's a nice little like look into what was going on with the Roman invasion and everything. It's kind of cool. I'm only like a few stages into it, but I haven't really seen much that adds to it, so I think this is a good game to take in chunks. Play a couple stages and put it away for a while. And again, this is sort of the problem where it's not working for me in handheld mode. Because I was thinking too, it's like, what I'll do is I'll just put the kickstand up, put it next to my my nightstand, and play in bed with the Pro Controller, and it doesn't support that. So that was a little frustrating. So. Yeah.
I figured every game had to support all of those control schemes.
I thought it did too, and I cannot get it for the life of me to work. You can do it with the second player, I believe, but it will not let you do it with the first player.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's weird. I even closed the game, detached the Joy-Cons, like reset all the controllers, and had that one, and it just was not taking. I was like, okay, that's weird. So I don't know, maybe it's some sort of like weird software thing in it that they need a patch or whatever, but I just could not get it to work that way. So Joy-Con, I went in bed and did not like it in bed, and then as soon as I got the Pro Controller on the TV, I was like, this is a much better experience. I like this now. So it's I don't know how long of a game this is, but I got recommended this by my friend who runs the Dreamcast Junkyard website. So thought I'd give it a shot, and I'm liking it so far. I got to keep plugging away at it, but between that and getting through Life is Strange Before the Storm, time's been a little limited because my daughter's tonsils just came out, and she's been let's just say a little bit of an upkeep during this part. So every couple of minutes I hear her iPad with the little bell thing we put on there for her, ding 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 ding. I'm like, oh yes, sweetie. It's like, man, I thought you guys were demanding before. Holy cow, this is bad. So like, let me see there, can I find some earplugs? And all right, here we go. But anyway, so that's been Wulverblade. Like I said, I like it. I should be able to get a review up sometime this week. It's just been a matter of time constraint for me. But so let's move on to the last big game to talk about here. Franky has it, but sitting in his mailbox because of issues, and I don't have it, and don't know when I'll get it. I'll probably pick it up eventually. It's just a matter of we've talked about this before. But anyway, John's been playing Mario Odyssey, so I think we just gotta sit back and let you talk about it, man. Because Franky, you might be
Jason, have you ever been happy before, Jason? Like felt happiness?
Yeah, absolutely.
This game is like that, just captured. It's like take that feeling and then transfer it to your Switch, because we're playing on Switch here. Yeah, and transfer it to your Switch in either handheld mode or docked mode. Turn it on. and be happy.
So am I trying to imagine like a Tactics Ogre port on here level of happiness?
Yes.
Ooh.
This game is just, it is such a well-made, joyful game. It's so good. It's so good.
All right, well, thanks for enlightening us there.
It's I have done 4 worlds. I've been to 4 worlds now. I've not completed any of them because fucking A, there are a lot of things to collect in this game. One thing to collect, just a lot of them. You have to collect moons in this, which is like shines or stars or what have you in previous 3D Mario games. And there are, I believe, close to the same amount as there are Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild.
I think there's 800. If I remember right.
I think there was 900 something.
Yeah, I think there's actually more.
Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah. I mean 800 moons.
Yeah, something like that. I have 109 right now.
Okay.
I have been, and they are everywhere. It's literally like this game encourages exploration and all the things that Breath of the Wild encourages you to do, just in a more compact zone than Breath of the Wild. It is not the like genre redefiner that game is, but it is like a genre it's like a pinnacle of the genre, more so than like a redefinition. Like Zelda was surprising in a lot of ways, and this game is just so well designed. It's hard. Everything controls well except for motion controls, which is probably the only thing that's really annoying about this game is that Nintendo's stubbornness with motion controls in the games is not. It's mostly just involved with Cappy, which is your hat, which you use to use the capture mechanic, which is the big mechanic in this game, which is using your hat to take over pretty much anything in any sentient thing in the environment, which is a horrible thing when you think about it. But if you don't think about it, it's a really cool mechanic. But also a lot of your attacks have motion control versions of them. Like if you shake the Joy-Cons or a Pro Controller to the right, you can do I think that's the move for that, a spin attack with your hat where you throw it around and it goes further and further around. There, if you do a quick flip of it after you throw the hat, it will do a homing attack. And then there's like upward hat attack. There's multiple different things you can do with motion controls, and playing it in the handheld mode is not the most intuitive way to do that. It's kind of, you have to you're basically taking your eyes off the screen when you do it if you want to do an upward or downward attack. Thankfully, none of it's really key or necessary for most things. It's kind of like most Mario games have a bunch of movement options, and they're there if you want to explore it. If you want to like speed, it's speed runners love this shit. Is what because there are just so many different ways to move Mario that you don't have to interact with, but if you do, it kind of changes the whole experience. You have a hat, your hat jump, which you throw your hat. If you hold the button down, it floats there, and you use that to jump off of to extend your jump. So people have figured out how to do a long jump, throw that long jump onto the hat, and then long jump off of the hat to do. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot of depth in the controls, and it feels great. Pro Controller feels good. Feels good on the handheld. The worlds are gorgeous and varied, and there's a lot of good humor in it. Like, it's made me laugh plenty of times. Like, mostly slapstick stuff, but it's good slapstick stuff. And then the writing is occasionally that stuff you see in like the RPGs, like the Mario and Luigi games. There's every now and then there's a line that you could expect in one of those games, and this is pretty good. And every level there's a boss at the end, and the levels are really good at like funneling you towards that initially, but also teasing you with other side stuff. So you're getting a bunch of moons along the way, and then once you beat the boss, that unlocks more things in the area to explore. And like the amount of different things you have to do to get the moons is like there's some you just buy straight from the shop, which is where you get like clothes for Mario and stuff. That's another thing. Like the clothes are fun and I like the different outfits, but they yet to have any effect on the gameplay so far. They're just more of a aesthetic thing. There's a couple like locations you can't get into unless you wear a certain outfit. That's about the extent of it so far. But yeah, you can buy moon. You can maybe ground pound and maybe you follow a dog into the desert and he starts digging up and you ground pound and you find one there. Maybe you talk to a Koopa and he tells you to trace a giant circle. He gives you an area to trace, and then it disappears when you start. So you have to like using memory trace the circle out. Maybe you maybe you see a Lady Goomba out there and you take over a Goomba and you have to make a Goomba stack so big that it gets that Lady Goomba so excited that she explodes out a moon. Maybe that happens.
Okay.
You heard me.
All right. I heard you, but I don't think I comprehended what the hell just happened there. But
yeah. See, that's there's that. The music is wonderful. I think for this show, I want you to use the music from Woodland Kingdom. That's an early standout for me. It's like some 70s surf rock kind of thing going on.
Oh yeah.
It's real good. It's real good. Yeah, I just like the whole time I'm playing this game, I'm just in a good mood. Like it's just a good time, guys. It's just such a good time. And I have so much more to go. I hear in the end game is very good after you beat everything. I've yet to find the moon. I've yet to find every moon in an area. I've found quite a few, and I've still got plenty more to go. Like the desert zone I mentioned earlier has 69 moons. Nice. There are like I have found 35, and I've spent. And so I think the least. Like the very first area has 17. You have to go back to it though. It's like a tutorial area, but you can't get any of them till you go back later. Mm-hmm. And you can go back to stuff at any time. There's you and your giant hat ship your giant hat airship you fly around. Yeah, it's a good game. It's a really good game. All right, Jason. There you go.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you've actually got me interested. I mean, I don't know. Like, I always kind of fall into the Mario trap where it's like, oh, I end up getting the games, but I just don't end up playing them very long. I don't know. It's just whatever part of my brain that enjoyed Mario games, I think died a ways back. So.
Wow, man, parenthood is rough.
Right, I was gonna say this.
Honestly, it was well before that. Like, I can go back to like Mario 3. Mario World, Yoshi's Island, and that's about it. I don't know. Just I mean, granted, it's. I think John, you and I are on the same page. Frankie, I don't know about you, but I tried going back to Sunshine like a few months back, and I was like, oh man, this is not good.
Sunshine controls terribly. Also,
yeah.
Sunshine is the only Mario that I've never even touched.
Okay.
Have you gone back? Galaxy holds up pretty well. I
have both of them.
The only downside for Galaxy is the Wiimote. If you don't use, it's like, and Galaxy 2 is fantastic. This game is more akin to an adventure game, even instead of like the more level-based stuff that those games were.
Yeah,
like it's more in the 64 and Sunshine mold than the Galaxy mold, but even more of an adventure game than those games were because you aren't. And just like the sheer amount of things like those moons is. Like it should be daunting, but it's more like I'd love finding them. It's always fun. It's always interesting. I love the dumb ones that just sit out in the middle of nowhere. I love taking over. I love taking over a T-Rex and having to break into a mountain with a T-Rex to get one.
Do you get to take over a T-Rex then pretty quickly?
It's the second world. You see the T-Rex.
Oh man,
yeah.
Awesome.
This game does not fuck around. Also, when you the idle animation is is Mario eventually just like lays down and kicks back and takes a nap, and on every different world, a different bird lands on Mario's nose depending on what world you're in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so and this game is really good for the capture stuff, especially because that capture stuff is just one button on the Switch, so it's it's like really it's a lot of good pictures in this game to take. It's all the little animations that Nintendo always puts in, like just like the little dust kicks up when he runs, or the pitter patter of his shoes, or like every character shivering in the desert because it's really cold there because Bowser, who's to kidnap Peach again, of course, but this time he's going to marry her. He's going to force her to marry, and he's going around collecting all these ancient wedding items. He's to have his perfect wedding. And
I don't
that's fucking up all these places.
It works.
No, he doesn't.
No, he definitely doesn't.
Also, Bowser's. I like his wedding get up. I like how he has his hair combed over. Also,
Oh, really? I haven't seen
he's
that
really,
yet. So.
really dapper guy.
I'm really confused as how why Peach is in the wedding dress. I mean, somebody force her into that?
Well, I think so. They don't get into that too much.
Okay,
but.
I'm just confused because normally a wedding dress is a pretty big ordeal to get into. So I mean, that seems a little willing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a special wedding dress too. It's like the pride of this kingdom, one of the kingdoms you go to. Also, the ghost hat is helping you because Bowser took the tiara ghost from that place, and that's the tiara Peach is wearing, has eyes also. Yeah. See, a lot of depth in this story. A lot of depth. There's layers to this. So
it's like an onion.
Yeah, it's like an onion or a parfait or what have you. The ghost hats are some of my favorite new characters in Mario. Just their design is adorable. They're really good. They're always in a good mood. They're always happy to meet you, and so I like them a lot. Yeah, I like it a lot. I pretty much like every design. The skeletons in the desert area with their ponchos and sombreros, and like the day with their Day of the Dead coloring, and you find the Jaxi in the desert, which is a jaguar with a stone jaguar that you can ride around like a taxi. So it's or the Moais, which are the Moai statues in Easter Island.
Or Super Mario Land.
Yes, Super Mario Land. When you can use their glasses, their giant sunglasses, to see invisible things in the environment. So, yeah, the capture mechanic is really cool. This game still has that Nintendo thing where it loves to tell you controls constantly. You can turn it off. But I haven't yet.
I was going to say, it's not going to make me want to crack the disc like Skyward Sword.
It really loves to tell you that you can use motion controls with the Joy-Con. It really wants you to use the Joy-Cons separately, like separately, like like with the straps on and everything. Like it really wants you to play like that. And I don't know why. They're really dead set on that.
From what I've heard, it's because of like the little, like when you throw the hat, like the little bit of English you can put on it basically is better with the Joy-Con.
Yeah, it would. I could see it being better. I don't want to play like that.
No, I don't either.
I don't. Like, I wish.
I'm an adult. Novelty doesn't work on me very much anymore.
Like, I know they want you to be able to throw the hat and keep moving at the same time. So I guess instead of having to stop and use the analog stick to control it, I guess maybe that's the thinking there. I don't know. I'm not. But other the game. Other than it telling you the actual controls constantly, doesn't it lets you figure out things on your own most of the time. There are hint things you can talk to if you want to. There's the Talkatoo, which is a bird that will tell you. It usually just tells you the name of a moon you haven't found yet. So that'll put that in your list so you'll know what you haven't found. You'll at least have a sort of idea of where it's at. Okay. There's the hint toad, who if you pay 50 gold. Also, they've made coins matter in this game more than any other Mario game, other than like New Super Mario Bros. 2, and that was because it was a score attack game.
Yeah.
This is like you constantly getting coins, and you use it to purchase like outfits and then decorations for your hat and stuff. Your hat ship. Sorry, you gotta specify. Yeah. Everything in this game is a hat. Everything, and if you have to knock everything's hat off before you can take over its mind, which is that leaves a lot of questions about what hats mean in this universe. But the hint toad, if you pay 50 gold, he'll give you. I have not used him, so I don't know how.
Hey, want a hint?
Yeah, they didn't. They don't go that far with the voice.
Mario!
Thankfully. Oh man. Finish.
Did you say fetish?
Finish.
Oh, okay. I thought you said fetish. I was like, okay, well, I think we're gonna end up the podcast here because, oh god, I don't know what we just opened up here, but
there's Uncle Amiibo, who has a little Amiibo stand that'll talk to you if you want to use Amiibo in the game. Okay. I like that he's called Uncle Amiibo.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous! I love it.
Yeah, a lot of dumb shit in this game. It's just so good. It's just so good. It's and like Bowser's henchmen are all like wedding planners. They're a group of wedding planners that are helping him plan his wedding, and they're trying to stop you. I just want to be in the room when they pitch the idea for this game. Just like, all right, what's Bowser up to this time? He wants to marry Peach. Got it. All right, he's gonna need help. He's gonna need wedding planners. All right. So yeah, I could go on and on about this game. I'm sure the things the boss fights are really inventive and fun. They aren't super difficult, but they're fun. They're fun to interact with at least. Mm-hmm. Like one where an early Bowser fight where his hat has mechanical boxing gloves, and you have to steal his hat, and you mash on Y to punch him in the face a lot with the boxing glove hat.
Oh man.
It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
Damn it. I need to get in my mailbox.
Or what you could do is go buy it, and then once you get your copy of the mailbox, go return that to whatever store you buy it from.
I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work.
That's honestly... I nearly did that with Fire Emblem Warriors, my collector's edition that came in. I was going to just go buy another one, just to be on the safe side. Then when Amazon sent me the other one, just ship it right back. Like, here you guys go. I don't need this, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost canceled. I was gonna cancel my Amazon order of this because I wanted a physical copy of it, and I was like, I know it's gonna get here late, and I'm not gonna, and I don't want to wait. But I did not cancel it in time. It was already shipping, so.
Hey, real quick, Frankie, are you interested in Middle Earth: Shadow of War at all? No. How about for $6.69?
$6.69?
Yeah. Order 64 just tweeted. For Xbox One PC, it's $6.69.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Go to Wario64's Twitter, and it should be the most recent tweet. I hate to interrupt the podcast with my purchasing habits, but for $6.69, I think I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, that sounds like a steal. Holy cow!
Yeah. Wait, it's just $6.69.
Yes.
If that's real, then I will pick it up for that amount.
There's no way that's real. That game came out like 2 weeks ago. It's like
yeah. Well, I think it was like Green Man Gaming had like Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, the remaster or whatever for the PS4 for like $12. It's like
yeah, but that game like I can see like that game's like what 4 years old, 5 years old. I don't remember when did that game come out? 2012.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is the full price release that on for the PS4 is like $40 right now. So
yeah, but this I could see some justification for that. I'm not saying it's not surprising; it totally is. But it's Shadow of War is like a licensed game with a bunch of microtransactions in it. It's I don't see its price going down that much that soon.
Yeah.
But
no, I don't see it going down that soon until the PS5 or whatever ends up coming out.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure it'll get to like 30. but it's not like Activision and they're constantly keeping stuff at $60.
I think it already might be too late.
I'm working on it right now because I'm just like, man, $6.69. Yeah, I mean, jeez, you know. Oh, are you kidding
never
me?
mind.
We are currently running a scheduled maintenance on our.
No, that means they're getting hit hard. That's
okay.
Yeah, that means there was an error and people saw it.
Yeah. I should have told you guys after I bought the damn thing. Shit, it slowed me down. It slowed me down. Oh well.
I mean, aren't you gonna get that on a sale today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah, it's a buy
whenever.
two. Yeah, but it's buy two get one free. That means I still have to buy it for $60. So if I get it for $6.69, I can get something else instead.
Buy 8 of those. Not that many.
Like, you know what? Right now, I'll just take the one because Jesus Christ, God. Yeah, it's $6.69. That's ridiculous. Yeah,
no, I think that has to be a really bad error.
Yeah, they probably meant it to be like $66.99 or something like that. Because it's like the silver edition, I guess, which is maybe the step above. So that would be my guess. But
it probably gets you some currency.
Yeah, some nonsense. So
yeah,
some stuff I don't really care about, but for $6.69, I don't care. Feel like, hey, you can throw all the loot box bullshit at me that you want for $6.69 for this. I don't even think you can get the first one for $6, and so.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play that game until it's cheap because I know I won't finish it. If I ever do play it, because it's like everything I hear about that game is it's way too long. But
yeah.
And I did not like the first one that much. I mean, it was fine. It was a good game. It didn't really grab me though.
I think the mix of like Assassin's Creed sort of stuff with whatchamacallit?
Batman Combat.
Batman Combat kind of did it for me. So I enjoyed that. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think that's dead. Shit. Oh well. Anyway, so.
In other news, Mario's still good.
Yeah, Mario's still good. You can buy Mario for $60. You will never find Mario Odyssey for probably $6.69. So.
No, you will not. No, you will not.
Maybe at a garage sale in like 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
God, I still can't believe this game and Zelda come out the same year.
I'm
right.
Yeah, part of me thinks like they should have held on to this for a little bit, because, man, I don't want to say there's a lot for the Switch, but there's a fair amount of stuff for the Switch. And then like looking ahead at like the beginning of the year, it's like it's pretty empty.
Yeah,
well,
it's
I think they wanted to get the biggest rush of games out there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to go off of any indication of where they failed at with the Wii, then or the Wii U
and the GameCube,
the
64.
I think this is only the second time they've ever released both of them in the same year. I think Sunshine and Wind Waker were released in 2003. Sunshine might have been 2002. But
I don't remember.
They fixed the price. Yeah. By the way.
What was that?
They fixed the price. I went back.
What's the price now?
$57.59.
Ah.
Yeah, no, I cannot wait to finally get to play that game. Hopefully, it's in about an hour here.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you about it for a long time. There's so much. I mean, 109 moons. A lot of different things to talk about with 109 moons.
Yeah. And that's what I love. I love how much stuff they usually throw into these games, even if they're just little stupid things. But I like the way that they hide the important stuff that's out there too. And they just, when Mario 64 came out and you're like, what, there's 120 stars like hidden in this castle? Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's it never feels really like padding. It just feels like, cause most time, like even the dumb ones, you still have to find them, and they're at least a little hidden, when they always feel it's a little clever, or like finding a Lakitu fishing and taking over his mind, and then catching a big fish that turns into a moon in the pond.
Yep.
And that's like, it's just like all that stuff, and it doesn't. it lets the player figure it out for themselves. It loves to tell you what the controls are, but it doesn't tell you what to do with them ever.
Yeah.
So, and it also the tutorial doesn't there are yet again a lot of different the long jump, triple jump, and all that stuff, and somersaults, all that jazz. But it doesn't teach you that. It gives you basically a guide to look at with all the different options whenever you want to, and it tells you kind of figure it out on your own. Basically, it does. They teach you intermittently a few things, but you can figure it all out from the beginning if you want to. So, yeah, the triple jump and long jump still feel really good. So,
do you mean Nintendo got the jumping down for Mario?
Yeah, it turns out jumping really good, Mario.
Oh, okay.
Mario jumps real good. 2017. It's.
Would you say his jumping is woohoo?
That was the working title.
Yeah, that was the working title. It's yes, Jason.
Okay.
Woohoo! It's yeah.
I think he's a spender.
Also, Mario's a dork. His mechanic outfit. He turns the hat backwards for his mechanic outfit.
Oh God.
Oh,
Mario is a middle-aged dad. It's
a living.
I have not purchased the boxer's outfit yet. It's 1,000 gold for that. I have enough. I'm kind of saving some gold for a little bit. I want to have a good chunk before I buy that. Yeah. Save the best for last.
You don't want the Mario nips running around for the rest of the game?
Not yet. I haven't earned it yet. It's.
Oh God. Okay. I don't know. I'm really trying to talk myself out of this just because I know how I am with Mario games, but I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like this one is different enough. It's like I said, it's not the Zelda difference. It's not like it doesn't feel like a whole brand new kind of game or brand new for that series. But it does feel like a really good evolution of that series, like a modern evolution of Mario.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the adventure game aspect of it is really cool. That it just the level stuff that they did with the Galaxy games. It's like if you really like 64, I think this is a really good evolution of that. It's
yeah. I say 64 is one of those ones that stays good in my head, and I'm afraid. I've played it recently, and I'm afraid to go back to it in depth. Because
I think in depth it would be more fun than just for a little bit. I feel like because it's you gotta get past how it looks now, and
I can. You're talking to the right guy. I can get past that.
Yeah, and it doesn't control. I'm sure the controls don't control super well, but I feel like the deeper you get into it, you'll get more used to it, and that'll feel better.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are still plenty of side activities in that game that feel like garbage now, but were acceptable then, but not good now. But I think as a whole, it probably still holds up pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like I said, I played it for a couple hours, and then my daughter went through my save file, started playing it, and just deleted not deleted, but just used up all my lives. It's like, hey, thanks. It's like, sorry, Daddy. I was cool, thanks, kid.
There's no lives in this. For dying, you lose 10 coins. It really that helps encourage you to experiment with stuff too. And I really appreciate that they got rid of lives finally. It's a really dumb mechanic that's stuck around for way too long in platformers.
It's been a weird arbitrary holdover.
Yeah. So they just made a bunch of smart changes to the Mario formula and then just blew it up. Into definitely the biggest Mario game ever made. Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah,
I can talk about it all.
Yeah, let's save some of this talk for next week when Franky's got it too. This way, you two can bounce off each other a little more, and maybe I'll have picked it up. I don't know. Like I said, I gotta talk myself in or out of this thing one way or the other. So
you're gonna get it.
Just when is the issue?
Tomorrow.
Oh, you're probably right, unfortunately, because I'm gonna be at Target anyway, picking up 2 games for the buy 2 get 1 free,
and I'll
just be like, what's another $60? Seriously, Jason,
it's gonna have a big stand for it too.
There's gonna be 600 copies lined up in there, and it'll be like, yeah, I need another big Nintendo game to play this year. Christ on a crutch. So.
Yeah, I'm all right.
God, okay, I gotta see if I can restrain myself. So, because I'm already thinking, like, my brain's already thinking exactly what you are, Frankie. It's like, I'm probably just gonna, like, even before we talked about it, I was thinking, like, maybe just pick up Mario 2 while I'm at it. Just like, shit, what am I doing? What am I doing?
It is like everyone's talking about it on Twitter. Like, of course, it's like it's the game people are talking about right now. So it's hard to avoid it.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to the news here real quick. What's not? I don't. There's some, but I think some that's worth maybe talking about a little bit more in depth. First off, Visceral Games is closing or closed or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of an unfortunate one. They made the Dead Space games. Well, I don't know, because then there's Dante's Inferno, Battlefield Hardline.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I feel bad, but it's just like, oh, maybe there's a.
They did a few other things before Dead Space 2 because they used to be EA Redwood, so they did a bunch of
that's right.
internal stuff. Like Dead Space 1 was released under the EA Redwood name. Visceral came for Dead Space 2, if I remember right. But yeah, I mean, I love the Dead Space games. They're the closest I've come to Resident Evil 4.
Did you beat the third one?
No, I did not. I've seen the end. I've seen the end of the third one. The third one was a very disappointing game. It wasn't a bad game, but it just was not the same.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way, and it's the only one of them that I haven't beat. So
I've beaten the first. I beat the first one like 3 or 4 times, and I've beaten the second one like on every difficulty. I think a couple times, multiple difficulties. Second one is probably top 10 for me. It'd be close. It'd be if I were to do a list, because it's, again, like I said, it's close. I've gotten Resident Evil 4 since Resident Evil 4, and just in terms of control and pacing and all that. And unlike Evil Within, I think the enemies they're fast in Dead Space, but they aren't unfairly fast like they are in Evil Within 2. Which can be frustrating. So, okay. Yeah, those 2 games are really good and pretty disappointing. It's
it's gonna. I mean, it's definitely just the oddity, I guess, that I am. Based on what I've heard, Dead Space 3 sounds more up my alley than 1 and 2, just because of the crafting system.
I mean, the crafting stuff is interesting. Yeah. And you don't have, and there's a lot of, it was there for microtransactions. That's why that's probably where it mostly came from. Like it's cool, like creating it, like turning your plasma cutter into like a flamethrower too and stuff like that. It's cool and fun, but it's like the level design wasn't the same. It's like the using a snow environment was cool. They didn't do a lot with it. Okay. And also fighting human enemies sucks.
See, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that'd be one to go back to and do a game club eventually. But like, I had some issues with the first one where it felt where I had such a problem with it. I guess compared to Resident Evil 4, where it felt too much like a monster closet. Like it was just like I don't know. There was just too much combat, I think, in the original Dead Space for me. Just felt like I was constantly being assaulted.
Resident 4 has a lot of combat. It's just paced a little bit better than Dead Space 1 is. But Dead Space 1, I think, has a very slow build, in my opinion.
Yeah, but that's how I felt too.
Yeah, that's what Dead Space 2 is.
First enemy, like the second room you go into.
Yeah, but you run away from it.
Yeah, you can't really do much to them for.
You don't fight things. You don't fight things for a little bit. Yeah, I think you get stasis before. Don't you get stasis before you get a gun? In that game?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
You might.
It.
Yeah. I don't. It's been a while as well.
Well, you mean a real gun or the plasma cutter? Because
yeah, the plasma cutter is one of my favorite guns of all time.
No, it was.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, it's an engineering tool. It's not a gun.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant.
It's a plasma gun. But yeah, I beat Dead Space 1. I got the achievement or trophy or whatever for.
Hey John, you got real quiet there.
I've got the thing with in Dead Space 1 for using only the plasma cutter, like beating it using only that. So I love that gun.
Yeah.
It's I Dead Space 2 is way more actiony than the first one, from everything I remember about it.
I never played it, so I couldn't tell you.
Dead Space 2 I think is paced way better than the first one, but and it also takes place on like a civilian space station, which makes it pretty interesting too. Ishimura is still cool. But yeah, those games are good. The other stuff Visceral did, not so much. Dante's Inferno, passable.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was like a mid-level or like a mid-tier or God of War thing. So
yeah, very much a God of War, but it was a decent enough clone.
Yeah. Army of Two, Devil's
Hardline.
Cartel. Battlefield Hardline.
Ugh.
Dead Space Extraction.
I paid $5 for Battlefield Hardline. I still think that game is awful.
I think that's about how much I spent on it too. So
game sucks.
I really wanted like the cops and robbers thing to be fun, but just couldn't get it.
Yeah, I did too. I like the idea was interesting enough, but it was just Battlefield with a different skin and less to do.
Yeah, I was hoping for a more polished Payday type game, I guess.
Yeah, I wish they should have leaned into that. Instead, they just made a Battlefield game and took stuff away from you. Yeah. It's like but what was the other games that they've done? That was their last one, wasn't it? That they did
Battlefield Hardline. Yeah. As Visceral Games, they did Dead Space Extraction, Dante's Inferno, The Sims 3 Ambitions.
The Sims 3 Ambitions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No idea. I guess they did one of the expansion packs for Battlefield 3. They did Endgame, and then Army of Two, The Devil's Cartel.
Ugh, man, those Dead Space games are good though. I really wanted to see their Star Wars game. Like that's like the saddest part about this for me. I wanted to see Amy Hennig's Star Wars game. Mm-hmm. Their Uncharted style Star Wars game. I was curious about it, but apparently it wasn't due out till like 2020, and like they showed that game like 2 years ago for the first time. So at this point, I think that EA just, because I think we're going to talk about why they shut them down, right? Like what their explanation was, or like they're pivoting. They're pivoting. That's the term.
Yeah, with their business model, basically, they're kind of going more for that. How to put larger worlds with more potential to, let's say, dip into, like we talked about in the last episode, the whole loot box thing. You know.
Yeah. Loot. They want a Destiny, even though they're getting EA is also getting one from BioWare and Anthem. So I don't, but I mean, a Star Wars. Imagine a Star Wars game. How much that would make if it was like, good God.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one already coming out. You know, Battlefront. So.
Yeah, but like a Destiny style Star Wars game, if it was a well-made one, would make so much money. It would. So I can understand from a business standpoint of looking at this single-player story-driven game. That's not due out for another 3 years, and wanting and not expecting it to make back what you spend on it at this point.
Yeah, I know EA gets demonized a lot, but I mean, we do have to remember, like in the early days of like the 360 generation. I mean, they were pretty experimental, and I think a lot of it just didn't pay off for them. So they're like, why bother?
They had Mirror's Edge, and wasn't Dead Space?
Yeah, Dead Space is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. We just talked about that. That was probably the most successful one out of all those that they did, which is surprising because it was a horror game. And,
Yeah.
But they did have a pretty good ad campaign with it, so I think that probably helped push it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think what they did with Dead Space, it feels like they really brought back what horror was. Like, I want to say around that time there weren't a lot of good horror games.
There still aren't. There are a lot of them, but there still aren't many good ones.
Yeah.
I would say just in general there aren't a lot of good horror games. It's just we kind of remember. I mean, if you go back and look at like how many there are, and then how many like kind of rise to the top, like it's a pretty normalized like ratio of just like.
I was thinking about my favorite horror games. Yeah, I was thinking about this recently about my favorite horror games, and like most of them are Resident Evils and Silent Hills. Like they're all from like two franchises, and it's like there are very few games outside of those like big ones that ever like leave a mark or interest. Like Amnesia's cool, but it never didn't. I like Soma more than Amnesia when it comes to frictional stuff, because I think they're better at storytelling than they are at game design, gameplay.
But I mean, like, even around that time, I don't recall there being even many even bad ones. There just seemed like there weren't a lot, and I think they kind of shifted focus back to it, where I think we've seen a lot more good horror games in, you know, maybe the last decade or so. I guess that's about the time it came out.
It came out 2008, right? So almost 10 years ago.
God, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, the 10 years previous of that, the previous decade. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that's just me and what I've played, because I'm not big on horror games anyway. So
because at that point, like the last Silent Hill game was like, I think Homecoming, and that was, no one really liked Home. I like Homecoming well enough, but I pretty much have liked every Silent Hill game.
Homecoming's an okay game. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Yeah. I have a soft spot for Silent Hill and Resident Evil games, so I have a bigger tolerance for the bad ones or the mediocre ones.
I was gonna say, in that time period, I mean, there's also Origins that came out a couple years before that. So.
Shattered Memories was well received, so like there were, but Resident Evil had not released, like 5 was not even out yet because they came out the year after. Mm-hmm. So, which was what made me like 5 even less after I played Dead Space, because it felt like going backwards with 5, because you could still not, you had to stop and shoot in 5.
Okay, partner.
God. It took me until like last year to actually finally like 5. I have a weird history with that game. But, I'm very hard on it too.
I enjoyed it when I played it with Gore like 5 years ago.
It is a great co-op game, but it is a terrible single player game.
Yeah. That's what threw me off originally, was like, or threw me off of it originally, was I played it single player and I was like, oh, this is not fun at all. And then Gore and I played it together and we beat it in like 2 days. I was like, oh, you know, that wasn't too bad. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like you play anything with anybody and it just instantly becomes better. So.
Yeah, but I think Resident Evil 5 is actually a legitimately good co-op game. It's not just better with it's not. I think because it's just designed that way.
Yeah.
So I never did the Dead Space 3 co-op. I always kind of wanted to do that. It seemed they did some interesting stuff with it. What I understand.
That was something else I had heard. Like, I think they did some pretty cool stuff with it, and that was something else that kind of made me like want to get into it. So it was co-op horror, like actual horror game, not just like, you know, an action movie sort of thing, like Resident Evil 5 basically was. So
yeah, like 5 there's nothing scary in Resident Evil 5.
No.
4 had already gone a long way away from that. There was still some stuff in 4, but by the time we got to 5, it was not. Yeah, horror was no longer part of Resident Evil. And then 6 came out, and that was a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Seven scary game, actually.
I still haven't touched it at all.
That is a good horror game.
You know, I'm trying to think of like horror games from that era now, like
2008. That would be Homecoming and Shattered Memories around that time.
Yeah, let's see.
That would be Amnesia was 2010. So the first person like hiding horror game, like the walking simulator horror games, basically had not. And because Amnesia basically created a genre. Amnesia is a pretty big point in gaming history that people don't talk about as much, because that blew up streaming, that blew up a lot of things. Amnesia was a pretty big deal when you think about it.
Siren Blood Curse came out in 2008.
That game is.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting horror games out there that were out around that era.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if that game was even good then. I don't really,
Let's see. I'm trying to think, like, oh god, because I'm sure there was some like weirdo like DS stuff too. I guess. Remember, God, I'm trying to think.
Oh, Dementium.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think there's always kind of been the same amount of
DS
horror
game,
games.
right?
Sorry, what was that?
That was a DS game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Did Condemned 2 come out in 2008? Is that when that came out?
Let's see. Sounds about right. Yep, March 11th, 2008.
That was okay. Not as good as the first one.
No.
But,
definitely not.
That bear seed's great though. One of my favorite sequences in horror games is that bear attack scene. Corpse Party came out in 08.
Was it? Wait, God. Was that the Japanese version or ours?
It looks like it says blood covered, so I don't know.
Oh, that's definitely one of the Japanese versions. Alone in the Dark that we were gonna, yeah, that came out in 2008.
We still need to play that.
Yeah, I know. We do. So yeah, that's what I mean. I think there's always been sort of about the same amount of horror games. It just, I don't think they ever really rise to the surface as much as like other things do. It just seems like a genre that's always sort of plugging away, and it just sometimes some of them rise to the top, and top 50 games ever made, like Resident Evil 4, and then sometimes they're just good,
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, recently you have, so many people talking about like Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's all those streaming. It's streaming.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's more in the more recent years that it has more of horror games have bubbled up to the top because, like you said, I mean, it's more of, the usual suspects of the next iteration in a series that you think of when it comes to horror games.
Left 4 Dead came out that year. It's not really too much of a horror game, but it's a zombie game, I guess. I don't know if that counts.
I would just put that as a co-op shooter. I wouldn't really.
Yeah. God, that franchise put out 2 games within a year, and then it still hasn't come back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see where you're coming from there, Frankie, but also at the same time, like, you got to think like the rise of Steam and everything. It made putting these games out so much easier for people.
There are so many bad horror games on Steam.
Yeah, and and there's a lot of. You buy one RPG or like JRPG on Steam, and then you are just forever inundated with recommendations of RPG Maker RPGs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of how many are out there now. I haven't played it, but I've got it, and it's what I want to play. I think it's like Back in 1995 is the name of it. It basically looks like the original Silent Hill, and it kind of plays like it goes for that nostalgia from the PS1.
It plays
era.
like it.
I don't know about plays like it. It might, but
okay, I would prefer like. It plays like an homage to that game. I don't want like a
yeah. Like I said, I haven't really played it, so I couldn't speak for it exactly. But
it's tank controls.
I'm sure.
So yeah, those old horror games are great, but God help you want to move in those games.
But that's part of the tension.
Well, Remake made a show that's not true, but Remake kind of has tankish controls still, but it's still much better than those.
Yeah, but anyway, game. So getting back to I guess Visceral Games, I don't know, but they're close. Who cares? It's not to say who cares, but I think we found it more interesting through line with that topic was just like horror games in general. So that time of the year,
or pouring out for Dead Space. I hope that series comes back eventually.
Yeah.
But, it's
it'd be nice to get a collection for this generation.
Yeah, those games look really good. So I'm sure they would an HD update of those would look great. Those
you mean HD?
Yeah, those games. Yeah, sorry, they are already HD.
Yeah.
A cleaning them up would look really good, and that the HUD stuff is still really cool because not many games. I don't know of any games that have really done it since then or like that game.
Really cool design choice with that.
Yeah, it keeps you. It's a good version of the you can't pause the game stuff kind of thing. I mean, you can actually. I'm pretty sure you can actually pause that game, but like just stop and switch stuff. It's because you can still see the enemy coming at you, so it's good stuff. Stasis stuff
sneaking up behind you, and you're.
Yeah, man. God, I want to play some Dead Space now. All right, let's go.
Well, guess what, boys? That's I'm throwing that on the game club list.
I will happily play Dead Space again.
Yeah, it's been a while, so I'm up for that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put the 3 of us down, and we'll have to plan that one out. So, because actually all 3 of them are backwards compatible on the Xbox One, so I can kind of pretty easily play those now.
Yeah, I've got my 360's out, and so I don't have to dig it out to get to it. But
Oh, I think I have them all on PC, but I also have them all on the 360. So.
I couldn't imagine playing that game without a controller.
Oh, I'm still gonna play it
I
with
mean,
the
yeah,
controller on PC.
I would assume
but-
so. It just made me think I couldn't imagine playing that game without a controller.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, that's yeah, it just and I think the problem was like when I played it, part of it was for me I had a digital rear projection screen, and I think the bulb was, we'll say, maybe 2/3 of the way through its life, so it was getting a little dimmer. So it was a little hard to see. I remember. So I'm actually thinking like maybe I should go fire this up and go play it on my new, or not new TV at this point. I think it's like 2 years old, but play it on this TV and see how it does it. So I just have this like memory of like it was just constantly bombarding me with what are they, the necromorphs?
They do throw a lot at you when shit hits the fan. But Resident Evil 4 does that too. They like that village sequence is no joke for the first time you play that game. It's still like you got to be on your toes. So I think they're very comparable. I mean, obviously it's like Dead Space is an evolution of that game, so it makes sense. But
Okay.
yeah. Also,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I forgot. I remember that Isaac Clarke doesn't actually talk in the first one.
Yeah.
I forget that they added that in the second one, which is so that it's just a lot of him screaming and breathing heavily. That's all. That's like his entire character development is. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, and that, and the whole twist of it was just like, I mean, God.
Yeah, that's a really good. Like
No. Please don't tell me you thought that was a good twist. Please don't tell me you thought that was a good twist.
I love the how they tell you the twist. Like if you pay attention, I love the little hint that they do in the chapter titles.
Okay, I thought it was way obvious before that too, but
I mean, no, I love that they put that in there even if you aren't paying attention.
I don't know. It's just like, oh, that's okay. I don't know. Like I didn't even really snap at it because I think it was like halfway through the game when she's like talking to you and like, let's be together forever or something like that. It's just like.
I mean,
okay.
I mean, yeah, you know she's dead the first time you see the fucking video, like of her talking to you.
Yeah.
Like I just liked the little detail, the little Easter egg. Yeah.
I don't know. Yep. I wasn't too impressed with that. I was just like, oh, okay, that's something they did. Cool. But anyway, okay, let's move on. Let's get to the rest of the news here because we don't have too much more. I guess in sort of a slew of Xbox One stuff here. Let's see. The first run of the original Xbox games that are backwards compatible, that list is out now. That is, God, where the hell did it go? Had it here a second ago. But there's like 13 of those things now that are backwards compatible. I personally, the most notable one is KOTOR.
That one, or I think Ninja Gaiden is another one.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden Black. Except I mean that's one that's also like you can get that on the PS3. I want to say. So
you can get KOTOR on your fucking phone.
Yeah.
So it's not like that. But Prince of Persia is on there. It's a multi-platform, but I mean it's still pretty good game. Well, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else that stuck out to me. I never really played Crimson Skies, so I have no like nostalgia for it.
No, here I'll run down the list real quick. I found it. Black, which is
not good.
Yeah. Blood Rain 2, not good. Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge. I think they brought back the Xbox Live component for this, I think, if I'm remembering right. So
they did. No, they did not.
They did not?
They did not.
Okay, well, then I can't see that being worth going back to. Dead to Rights, no thanks. Fusion Frenzy.
Bill Gates' favorite game.
Oh, God, here's a rare game and go fuck itself because it's a rare game. Grabbed by the Ghoulies.
Wait, what is it?
Grabbed by the Ghoulies.
Grabbed by the Ghoulies.
Oh, I remember hearing about that game, but
bad game.
I mean, it's a rare game, so of course it's a bad game, but let's see. King of Fighters Neo Wave. I can't imagine there's a big clamoring for that.
Is that a good King of Fighters? I have no idea.
Know.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah. 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 Ninja Gaiden Black, Prince of Persia, Sands of Time, Psychonauts, Red
I
Faction.
don't like Psychonauts.
Nope, I don't either.
Yeah.
Let's see. Red Faction 2, Sid Meier's Pirates, and KOTOR.
That's not even a good Red Faction. It's like that's like the one people don't like.
I was gonna say what was the first one that people liked?
Yeah, they like the first one and they like Guerrilla. So they like every other Red Faction from what I remember.
Yeah.
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 What was the last one you said?
Sid Meier's Pirates, which is okay, I guess. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was the only good pirate game before Black Flag came out, so I liked it. But not many good pirate games. It's hard out there for a pirate fan.
It's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can play System Link with them together.
Great.
Oh.
Yeah, that's cool. So,
Good old days.
So that's something.
You can have a LAN party.
Yeah, there's something there. Let's see. You'll be able to gift digital games on Xbox One, so hopefully Sony follows suit on that eventually.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and then pour one out, or don't, because I don't think too many people are going to be sad about this. But Microsoft is killing off the Kinect. It's officially done. So.
We talked about this off air when we were talking about what we were going to talk about, which is a lot of, I said talk a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of what Kinect games I actually played, and because I didn't have a Kinect, so I think I played Dance Central once.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't.
Drawing a blank on anything else that I've actually played.
My wife was into it for a couple months. Like, she played Kinect Adventures, a Carnival Games thing. God, something else I don't remember. Like, and I got it because I wanted to try. What was it Rise of Nightmares? I think was that horror game that was on there.
Oh.
I wanted to try
Yes.
it. That Steel Battalion game that came out. I ended up actually picking that up because it was like $2. I was like, I can give it a shot eventually.
You wanted to play that Steel Battalion game? You thought that was a bad idea. Why'd you do that?
For $2.
It's not worth that game's not worth $2.
Dude, I've bought cookies that are like $4 and hated them, threw them in the garbage. So I was like,
yeah,
$2.
but you have a chance with cookies. You knew that was gonna be. You knew Steel Battalion was gonna be bad.
Oh, let's see. Trying to think what else. Shit. Oh, and God, what was the? It was like a puppet one, like a marionette, like gunslinger thing.
The Gunstringer.
Gunslinger.
Right?
There we go.
Yeah, I heard that was pretty good. It had really that the one with the really crazy cutscenes, like is it from the amped people?
I don't.
It had
remember.
it seemed very like amped with really weird cutscenes.
And the only Xbox One game I have that's like
Fighter Within.
Is what?
The Fighter Within, that Ubisoft fighting game that came out when it released.
God. Well, I'm talking Crimson Dragon.
That
plays with the controller. So yeah. And then all the health stuff got discontinued too. Like all the Nike workout things they had, they discontinued that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't really see the point at this. I mean, and it seemed like the Xbox One was like a pretty marked improvement, and it just didn't set the world on fire because that trend had died already. And any potential of goodwill of forcing it down your throat with the initial run of Xbox One. I think it was dead in the water as soon as they announced $500, and it comes with the Kinect because you have to have the Kinect now. So,
the Kinect was like the worst out of all three of them. Like in turn, like just like it had some it had promise. Like the voice stuff that was interesting until you realize that using a controller is way faster.
Mm-hmm.
And like the full body stuff could have been cool, but it's the technology is not even close to where it needs to be for that to actually be a way you want to play games all the time.
Yeah.
But that Fantasia game looked cool. Like they did some cool visual stuff with it. Harmonix seemed to actually really understand what they were doing with it, Like they made like 3 Dance Centrals, and that they did the Fantasia game, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. So like one developer knows what they're doing with that whole system. So like, yeah, it's doomed to fail at that point.
Yeah. And then what is it? Child of Eden was Kinect supported too. So I mean, it was something, but I don't think it really ever. I don't think it was like a necessity of it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. They had that, you could rush your horse in that Fable game, couldn't you? The Journey.
Yes, I don't remember. Honestly, like the whole Fable series kind of just never really did it for me. So
I really like the first 2. I really enjoy those games.
I remember forcing myself to like the first one because I'd read a lot of coverage of that game over the years, like when it was in development as Project Ego for a while, which, yeah, I should have told you everything with the Peter Molyneux game. But yeah, it's like, just like, because I remember reading, I think it was in Xbox Nation or like OXM, like in an interview, he was talking about like being able to plant a tree and then come back years later and then go climb up the tree, sneak in through a window of somebody's house through that tree, and it's just like, I'm like, oh man, it sounded fascinating, and then it just turned out to be a pretty straightforward like action RPG, which I was fine with, but it wasn't what I was wanting or what I was sold. You know what I mean? So
I played the first one not knowing any of that like all the promise from before it came out, so I just played it as an RPG that I thought was really fun, and at the time I like British humor occasionally. If it's done well, it's fine. I like Monty Python, so like I enjoyed that stuff. 2, I was all in on the hype for, and it was disappointing. But I played it a few years afterwards and really, really enjoyed it after setting my expectations accordingly. They aren't like genre defining RPGs by any means, but I think they're well made ones, and they got a lot of charm to them. So 3 was disappointing. There's like this whole second half of that game is really poorly designed when you become king.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's Kinect. Okay, yeah, that's how we got on that. Okay. So,
yeah.
I was just trying to remember.
Pour half of one out for Kinect.
Ashley and I were talking about this for the 8-Bit show yesterday, and I think the biggest thing that actually Kinect brought were some of the advancements outside of gaming. Because there are a lot of like doctors, or I should say programmers, who were looking to build medical tools for doctors.
Right.
And I think that was actually the most interesting thing. So I'm despite how shitty it was for gaming, I shouldn't say shitty, but how useless it kind of ended up being.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I think shitty might have been better. I mean, at least shitty was, at least like, well, they put forth a good effort, just flubbed it, not useless.
Useless. Like, what was even the point if it's useless?
Yeah. I mean, that's like putting a fork, a spoon, and then what is it? Like a tongue depressor down as an eating utensil. It's like, well, which one are you going to pick?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
One of these is useless. And it's
you tell me which one. One of these serves no function whatsoever if we're trying to eat.
But I'm really glad though that they still attempted to do that, because kind of what it's done for other avenues I think is pretty cool. Again, I don't know if it'll bring about anything, but I mean, it could lead to other cooler technologies. So
yeah, I mean, Sony's buckling down on that VR thing pretty hard. So I mean, I don't know if we can really make fun of Kinect for being $100 and the Sony VR thing being what, $300, and still nothing really of note for it. So
yep, blips here and there. That's it.
I would say that there's almost as much of note for VR as there is for Kinect. So
trying to think what's.
Well, I mean, we got Resident Evil 7 kind of made a big splash for it, but that's it.
Super Hot's pretty cool from what I understand in VR. So yeah, there's a couple things.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, you can kind of think of stuff for it, but then, how many things get put on the PlayStation Store every week that you're like, oh, VR, no thanks.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
I want to care about VR, but they're making it really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I really do wonder if people are digging down on this and realizing that this is the iteration that is not going to fly. It might be the next one, and they're just throwing out stuff and experimenting. But at the same time, it's we saw it with Kinect. I don't know. It's just I understand there are different prospects of game control, I suppose, and how you can interact with games. But at the same time, it's it just feels like more gimmicky shit that Nintendo finally gave up on for the most part. Well, I don't know. Never mind. They're trying to get you to do that in Mario and then in Zelda with those stupid. Oh God. Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry, Nintendo. You don't get a free pass on that. Scratch that. You didn't learn your lesson yet. So. Oh God. Anyway, okay. So I think that's really about it as far as the Kinect goes. I can't really think of much else. Like I said, Frank, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of cool potential that they could have unlocked with it. But it might just be more of a stepping stone for technology than an actual this is the next step. This is sort of the side branch that wait, if we took some of this, maybe it would work with this.
Yeah, and I think actually that's one thing that they're doing with holograms now, right? Microsoft is building in order to make their holograms, they rent out this studio space, and I guess they use a bunch of Kinects in order to, they tell an actor to go into the area, and it's Kinects that are recording them in order to create a hologram.
That sounds right. I mean, yeah, and yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, the Kinect could be this better, want of a better comparison, Neanderthals. Sorry, I keep forgetting that's been changed. Neanderthals, their genetic code getting mixed in with humans. So,
yeah.
I mean, it could benefit us in the long run, but with being pretty minor part of what we are. So, I don't know. Could be interesting, but we'll see what happens there. So, I guess we'll cover this real quick because I know I've been on there a handful of times in my life. John, I don't know about you, and Frankie, I don't know about you, but NeoGAF basically imploded.
I talk about this off air. I don't like message boards. I feel like they're really toxic places. And I don't understand how people can spend so much time on them. But yeah, NeoGAF, the head, give me a second, let me get the name, Tyler Malka, also known as Evil Lore, I believe, on the message boards. It's been accused of multiple allegations of sexual assault have come to light. They came to light over the weekend, and NeoGAF essentially burned to the ground over the weekend because of this. Yeah. It happened swiftly, and it was kind of nice to see that actually something like this happen for once. Instead of people coming to defense of someone, it's
everyone just sort of picked up, packed up shop and left. Yeah,
they're oh wait, this is awful. Fuck this. So he has since gone back to moderating and has deleted multiple message boards associated with this topic. So he has, in a sense, doubled down on the situation, and instead of stepping away, he has dug in harder. Mm-hmm. So yeah, all of this is leading me to believe NeoGAF, while I'm sure will probably still be around, we won't be hearing much from it from here on out.
Yeah, I don't think 8-4Play is going to be promoting their GAF thread anymore.
No, yeah. I don't think most people will do much with NeoGAF. A lot of people, I was interested to see people from the forums take to Twitter and talk about how they don't know, having to fight the urge to click on the link that they click on every day to go to boards and talk about games and stuff. They feel a little lost right now, trying to figure out what to do.
Go on to Twitter.
So I mean, yeah, I mean they're already on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't understand message board culture, but I'm sure. I mean, like I said, it does. I find them very toxic. But yeah. Some people, there are good ones, and some people, it helps some people to be able to to vent in places like that, so I can understand how this would affect them.
A couple, like, I guess now at this point, you know, like lifelong friends I made were from a specific message board. And like, I mean, it kind of like, I never really ended up playing them, but like I became like a fan of the art and just the design of this, God, what is it? Like like an RPG series that was Korean made called War of Genesis that my friend Francis turned me on to. And like, you know, there's a lot of like little stuff there, and then like anime I got into and stuff like that I never would have been turned on to if it wasn't for message boards. But again, this was, oh boy, let me see, so 16, 17 years ago that I got involved with one very specifically.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's as a wrestling fan, I can understand also going to message boards because it's hard to find people to talk about wrestling with. Turns out, so or yeah, go figure.
Yeah,
people
get pretty fortuitous with when you jumped on with this site that Gore's there. So
yeah, it is a hard thing to find people to talk about with, but you know that's why I met. So I can understand going places like that and for that sense. But yeah, again, I don't go to them myself. And but like I'm sure the main thing here is this man is accused of sexual harassment and he was accused years ago as well.
Yeah, I would say too many of them to turn a blind eye to.
Yeah, so I am very happy with the reaction the people of NeoGAF, like the users of NeoGAF, their response. I was very happy with it. It was like I said, it was a nice change of pace from how the rest of this year has gone with these kind of situations.
Yeah. Instead of people doubling down on it and being like, "Great, cool, good for you, man. We got your back." It's like, oh, good, okay.
Yeah. It's been a rough year for this kind of stuff, at least coming to light. Like I mean, and it's just like, which makes sense because when one thing comes, people are gonna feel more comfortable and want to talk about their
experiences.
Yeah, personal stories. There's a thread on Twitter. I think it's called #MeToo. People sharing their stories.
Yeah, that's Twitter and Facebook. I've got a few friends who I've seen pop on there, and I'm like, oh god, you know.
Yeah, it's sad how many people are going onto that and using it. It's a bad situation. I'm not gonna talk too much about it because it's not something I mean, it's wrong. Don't do it. That's all you gotta say. And don't attack these people who are coming forward with this stuff. Like, don't just it's hard enough as it is. So
yeah, exactly. You can't sit there and be like, well, why were you quiet so long? What was that? It's like, well, what you're doing right now is part of the problem. So back off.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's like instantly going and belittling and berating them for coming out and saying something. You know, even if it's a decade or more after the fact, it's like, well, the reason why is because your exact reaction is because it immediately turns into blaming you and like, well, what's your problem? Why did it happen? And it's like, ooh, okay, let's take a look at yourselves here and realize that maybe part of the problem on why they don't come out and speak up is because of your exact reaction. I mean, who wants to fuck with that? It's seriously, yeah. So there, like I said, I've seen a few friends, people who I would consider friends, that I've made through Twitter and various like just game stuff in general that, you know, they do the Me Too thing, and I'm just like, it's like, god damn, it's like, do I know anybody? Do I know a single female that this hasn't happened to?
Yeah, and there are experiences large and small. It's not like it's not all
it's not all sexual assault, but
but it's still like stuff that should not happen to people, and women have to deal with it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a shitty year.
Yeah.
And so I hope the next time we do one of these, we want to talk about something like this again. So I felt like it was necessary to bring it up at least, and not act like it didn't happen.
Yeah, but, absolutely. I agree 100%. And I don't know. Maybe it's like I said, because I was raised by women. I tend to have more like female friends than I do males, and I don't know. I don't want to say grossed out, but it was just like bothered by like just how many people like I know that I'm just like they're my friends, you know, and it's just like it's like, oh my god, you know, it just I've got one friend who's very like, she's not comfortable with putting herself out there, like just because of like physical appearances or whatever, and she did it once for something, and and she put it, she was like, it's very hard for me to do because, she's always afraid of comments or whatever. I'm like, you let me know when you see that shit. It's like, I got your back. It's like, who gives a shit? I mean, I don't know. It's very bothersome for me. I mean, I guess as somebody who went from, I guess being the very stereotypical nerd who got picked on very, quite a bit when I was younger to just, you wouldn't think I'm as nerdy, I guess, as I am just by looking at me to just, seeing that the way people treat you based on appearance is like, for me, I guess maybe that's why I've always been kind of like, it's like, I don't give a fuck what you look like, it's like, who cares? Who cares what your background is? I mean, as long as you're cool and I don't, I enjoy talking with you, I don't give a shit like where you're coming from. So.
Yeah. And it's a shame that women have to deal with this so often.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's real.
Yeah.
They can't just have a normal conversation without having to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And I mean, it's made me more aware of like what I do when I talk to people or, talk to women too. And it's,
yeah, me too.
And, and it's most of the time, and I wouldn't even say most of the time, like I don't ever go with any sort of like intent like that, but it's just like, well, is it going to be construed that way? It's like, I don't want to say like, oh, you should be paranoid about everything you say, but it's just like, just be careful what you say. I mean, be more mindful. Don't put yourself into that situation of like, well, just because I know this, it's like, well, this person deals with this possibly every day. And just because you don't mean it that way, they might interpret it that way just because it's just, they're normal. What you take as like a casual comment and you don't mean anything by it, it just could be their norm. And they're just like, again.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this, as far as I'm concerned, like this, as little of a community as we have, like this site, this website, this podcast, anything else, it's a safe space for that. Like, I don't want any sort of like, uncomfortableness in that sense. So here it's
yeah. And I said women earlier, and men, it happens to men too. I don't want to act like it doesn't. Yeah. So I don't want to single out. It's just been a lot of women coming forward lately. So, it happens.
It just seems proportional.
It happens to a lot of people.
Women. So
yes, it happens. But yeah. It happens to everyone. Yeah. So, yeah.
So I think I think we've definitely put our flag down as a bunch of like pinko commie leftist weirdos. So
yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Super strong stance on that, guys. It's like really like people should be treated fairly and not sexually harassed. Really strong stance we're taking.
Yeah. Well, some people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
God. It's like, that's right where I fall. Yeah. And if you happen to think that's a weird stance to take, you probably not listen. You probably don't listen to like anything I say. So I don't know. It's
and I don't want to talk to you either. So it works out. So right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, there are some things like politically, like I disagree with on the, I guess, more far left things, but this is not one of them. This is one thing where I'm like, no, you should just be able to act like a normal human being and get treated like a human being because you're a human being. It shouldn't just be immediately like, well, you're a piece of meat and I'm going to treat you like one. So that is never anything okay. I don't care what you are, who you are, what your relationship with somebody is. It's just not something okay to do. So anyway, like I said, real hard stance we're taking here, and goddamn, if this really made you stop and think like, oh, I don't know if I like these guys anymore, bye. Just buy. Everything with this site is coming out of my own pocket. I don't care. I don't need your download. I don't need you to click on an ad for me. Whatever. Just buy. I don't care.
Agreed.
So it's like, oh geez, if I have to work an extra like 3 minutes to pay for the lack of the couple of clicks of ads we get every month or whatever, it's like buy. I'm good. I'll stay at work for 3 minutes.
That's worth it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See you later. I don't care. So anyway, I don't. We really railed on that one. I thought we were going to, or maybe I did. I don't know. That's
Yeah, I mean it's a hot topic right now, sadly.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, and I mean we don't have a lot of females involved in the site. I mean Vanessa does all the back end stuff, and I mean, like I said, maybe that's just something we don't talk about her enough. But I mean, this site wouldn't exist without Vanessa, plain and simple. I mean, she does everything. On the back end, keeping up the website. Like I ask her to do something, it just gets done. So I feel kind of bad sometimes that she doesn't get mentioned. But I mean, one of my female friends who, I met at GameStop, like this, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for her. Or if it wasn't for her. So it's just, So I mean, if you think I'm in charge of this thing, no, Vanessa could shut this down in like 3 seconds flat. So.
I'm in charge of
nothing.
It's always a pleasure having And it's always a pleasure having Brittany on too. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Brittany.
We don't have many female friends on here. We should. I wish we had more. But
yeah. I mean,
what it is.
There's a few talks that I want to get into eventually. That maybe once I figure out a better structure for that sort of stuff. Like I'd love to have like Just Chavez who does localization. I'd love to have her on. Just talk about localization in general.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean Anna Marie Privateer, who does a lot of PR for game stuff, and she's over at RP Gamer. Like I'd love to have her on at some point because she's worked for Natsume for a long time, and they've made not some of my favorite, but like some of the more interesting games of my younger years. So like like I said, that's just all stuff I really and I mean right now they're sort of I guess carrying the torch for the River City series out here in the West. So it's like that's a company that a lot of their newer games haven't really done it for me, but they're bringing forward a lot of games that are kind of near and dear to my heart, like that Wild Guns remake that came out this year, man, I don't remember. God, this ye's been a long year. I think it was last year. Yeah,
I'm going to say last year, and I'm sticking to it.
yeah. Whatever came out. I mean, so like I said, I mean, I've got female friends I'd love to have on here. I mean, I'd love to get my wife on here, but I don't think I could bore her any more than I do with video games. So I think the fact that she puts up with me, period, doing this and just me playing video games in general is probably enough torture for the poor woman. So, and I've talked about doing stuff with my daughter I thought might be interesting, but just, I don't mind putting myself out there, but my daughter's 6 years old and I don't want to have to expose her to that stuff, because she'd be interested to see like what people do. So I'm like, or like how people responded to it or whatever, because that's just kind of how she is. She wants to know how things do, and she wants feedback basically. She's sick. She's looking for attention. That's perfectly understandable. And like I said, I'm okay with people not being cool with the way I write or the way I talk, or like I said, that's fine. I'm an adult. I'm 35 years old. I can take your opinion of mine. If I don't like it, I'll just kindly ignore it. But it's like it's my daughter. It's not something I'm comfortable putting. I'm not putting her. I don't want to put her in the public eye just for, like some people do, put their kids in there for clickbait, essentially. Like, hey, look, got my kid in here. It's cute, isn't it? It's like, no, boy, okay, that's not exploitive at all. Cool. If you can't tell, I've got a lot of opinions that I keep to myself a lot. So.
Just let them all out. This is the place.
Let it out. Yeah.
This is a safe space.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not fair. I will make fun of you sometimes. That's
fine. Yeah. Deservedly so. So yeah. I guess I don't care. I'm 35. I can take my lumps. It's fine. Yeah. I can defend myself. And if I can't, guess what? That just means you outsmarted me. So congratulations, you won. I guess. I don't know. I don't care that much. Believe me, I'm a 35-year-old guy who is kind of comfortable with where he is in life. And if you beat me at something, congratulations. You want a medal, pat on the back? Don't know. I got nothing for you. So, but anyway, do we have anything else? I think that was it, right?
Yeah, I'd say that's about it.
Yeah. There was that whole Amazon thing.
What do you guys?
I don't know. I don't really want to go into that after this. It seems kind of trivial comparatively. I think the Amazon thing is so stupid. It's so stupid. Yeah.
It's like I would never ever sign up for that. It's
for rich people, I think is what it's for.
Yeah.
Are rich people using Amazon?
I would imagine. Well, that's probably what they're what.
Maybe
I don't know. Maybe it's not.
Maybe it depends on your definition of rich too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about super rich. They don't need that. No. They got their own courier services, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have their own drones and shit to pick up the groceries.
This is for like
upper middle class, bare minimum. Maybe.
We're talking about the Amazon service where they get a key to your house or something, and they can leave a package inside your house for you instead of on the doorstep.
Yeah, I think these are more for people who have security systems already, and maybe they just don't want to put up with the hassle of people getting their stuff getting stolen by random people.
Instead of random Amazon person will come into your house and steal the rest.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but I mean,
yeah.
You have a camera though that's on them, and you can point to it and say, "Yeah, this is your employee that stole my stuff." So
that doesn't mean you can't possibly case the joint.
Oh no, not at all. But
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, there's no downside to this at all, right? Giving a stranger total
Yeah,
access
no,
to your
there's-
house. I'm like, no thanks.
yeah, no, I don't know who would honestly. I don't know anybody who would go for it. This is just ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like, how bad is it? I mean, okay, so I had a thing where, I think it was like 2 years ago, I had a controller and something else delivered to my house from Amazon. The UPS guy dropped it off at my neighbor's house, who I don't get along with. I didn't know he dropped it off there. I just was like, hey, it says delivered. Okay, great. I went and checked the entirety of my front yard, like the side yard where we have that's fenced off. Like there's a place that occasionally the UPS guy will like just dump the package over, and it wasn't there. I was like, okay, cool. So I contacted Amazon. Hey, it's not here. Oh, okay, we'll send you a replacement. I was like, oh, great, cool. A few days go by, and delivered again, and still nothing. I'm like, okay, I don't know what the hell's going on with this. And I called them, and I was like, hey, look, I've got a big issue with this because I don't know what the hell's going on with this thing. This is the second time, and I'm not trying to like skeeve you guys. I spend probably a couple $1,000s a year with you, maybe, and I'm not trying to scam you out of a $50 controller and like a $30 book or something like that. It's like, what the hell's going on? So they just sent a replacement for me, and with the signature required. And guess where they dropped it off? The only reason I caught it was I heard a truck. I was waiting for it that day, and I heard a truck drive by, and the UPS guy went up to my neighbor's house and dropped it off there. And I started walking over there and rang the doorbell. I was like, okay, I gotta see what's going on here. And the guy's girlfriend brought it over, and she was like, oh yeah, they dropped it off here. And I was like, uh-huh. They didn't happen to drop off anything like this like before? No? I was like,
yeah.
Okay, cool. So I mean, if a signature required thing doesn't even do that, I mean, I ended up calling UPS and being like, look, I can understand making a mistake once, but 3 times? No. The only reason I caught it this time was because
that's really bad.
It's like, your UPS guy sucks. I'm sorry. If you can't read the number on a front of a house, why is he working for you guys? Plain and simple. But yeah, so I mean,
Seriously.
I don't want somebody that can't read the numbers on a house dropping off a package in my house. So, no thanks.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we brought this up to just all agree with it. Basically, like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Who the hell is this for? Like, I don't know. Like, I my neighbor doesn't, like, the other neighbor that I like, that I get along with, they don't have a key to my house in case, like, we need them for something or whatever. If we go out of town or if we lock ourselves out, like, nope, my mom and my grandma, who live like 15 minutes away, like, or 10 minutes away driving, have a key. And if I have to, I can walk over there in like an hour. But I ain't giving anybody a key to my house that isn't like my family. So sorry, not happening. Even then, there are some family members I would not give a key to my house to. So yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of any situation like.
I guess if you were going out of town and expecting a package, maybe.
Yeah. You have a place you're renting out for, what's it, Airbnb, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's such a specific thing.
Really specific scenario.
I was going to say, Frankie, you are coming up with way too imaginative of a scenario here for this thing. I think once you have to start thinking this hard, it's clearly not a good idea. So.
Well, good luck, Amazon.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. They're bound to come up with some stupid ideas. Not everything they throw against the wall is going to stick. I mean.
Oh yeah, no.
But I can't imagine being on the board and like hearing this idea and be like, let's start it tomorrow. It's like, what? Who?
Right.
Who
Yes, we're gonna need a wedding planning team.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. We need a wedding planning team. We need a sentient tiara.
Turns out Nintendo's in charge of Amazon too.
Oh, that explains a lot. Okay, well, it was a DualShock 3 that I ordered. Maybe that's why I didn't get it. They're like, you don't need a DualShock. That's a Sony thing. You don't need that. So, we did have one last thing. Nintendo, the Switch update.
Yes.
Yeah. So the latest Switch let me rephrase that. The second to latest Switch firmware allowed you to starting to allow you to put
update 4.0.
Yeah, whatever it is. It like basically just allowing you to upload like up to 30 seconds, right, for certain games.
Yeah. The original list was Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8, ARMS, and Splatoon 2, and I'm pretty sure Odyssey is now on that. I'm pretty sure I have done that at least once. So, but yeah, it's only a small selection of games. You just hold down the button and it starts video capture. It's not quite as good as like the Xbox or PS4s because it only does 30 seconds. But I mean, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
At this point, so
yeah. It's. But I think 30 seconds is a good clip for like Twitter. Like,
yeah, like 30 seconds is a good amount of time. It's just not like not. It's still like not quite as good of a feature as the PS4 and Xbox, but for most people, it's going to be all you need. 30 seconds. So
yeah. Jose Otero like posted up a video of him like sometimes it's better to run or whatever, and like he's taking on like three enemies in Breath of the Wild, and I forget what the hell happened, and like an explosion happened, so he like jumped backwards off a cliff, and as he's as soon as he jumps backwards and realizes like he's like falling off a cliff, he just pulls the paraglider out and is just sailing backwards, and I was like, that was kind of cool. So something like that, it's great for. So
yeah,
and I think really like most of the stuff that I've ever like uploaded has been just no more than 30 seconds. Like, I saved the video and I meant to upload it and I just still haven't because I just forgot about it. There's like a video of Fallout 4 where I forget what I did and then somebody like went just flying in the atmosphere. I was just like, ooh, okay. And then like maybe like a minute later, like I found them, they just came crashing back down to Earth. I was like, oh, hi, how you guys doing? So
I think my longest like a minute long video from Andromeda, the whole game just shitting itself.
Oh, that's
just
right.
like in so many different ways. But I had a bunch of Andromeda clips. That was a fun time. Mm-hmm. So that's the most I've ever used that feature.
So look forward to Anthem.
God. Oh boy.
I hate to say it, but I might be. I don't want to speak in generalities in that sense, but I might be washing my hands of BioWare at this point. I think they might be done.
We'll see.
With the type of stuff I'm interested in.
They built that engine for Anthem specifically, so that maybe it'll be better. See, that you can now transfer save data to other systems, which is crazy that was in the system before, but whatever. It's
Nintendo. It's not crazy. It's par for the course.
Yeah. You can now preload games on the eShop, which again should have been there before. Whatever.
Wait, what was it? What was that last one?
I said it should have been there before.
No,
preload. You can now preload stuff on the eShop.
Okay.
Yeah. If you buy it. Yeah.
Well, they have a wish list. That's something Sony and Microsoft could get on.
Yeah, that's a very common feature for things that they should have. But also, the wireless headphones are now compatible with the Switch.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I heard about that.
And you can now use USB controllers, which means you can use GameCube controllers on Switch now if you want to use a GameCube controller for whatever reason.
Yeah. I can't imagine what that would be useful for at the moment, but
yeah, there's no Smash Brothers there yet, so like that's kind of like the only thing people use it for.
Yeah, that D-pad's too tiny to actually use as a D-pad. So
yeah, Mario does not use a D-pad at all. I don't think.
That makes sense. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. The analog controller is so tight that you don't even need it for the finer stuff. But that's about it there. A lot of the stuff they didn't even announce, people figured it out. Like the GameCube and the wireless headphone stuff, like they didn't even mention that was part of the update. They just
I read an article that apparently they didn't mention it because they had no idea that it would work.
That checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee, Nintendo does something and they're like, oh wait, that worked? Okay. Total surprise, guys. Yeah, I had no idea. Yeah. Gee, Nintendo sometimes not knowing what they're doing. Okay.
they seriously, they're riding on a lot of luck, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've been riding on a lot of, okay, so the DS and the Wii were like runaway, like, successes for, but I mean, seems like they're like they've been running a little thin for a while.
Yeah, but did they really know what they were doing with either of those two?
I think they did with the Wii.
I don't know. Waggle?
I mean, it was a pretty bold choice to make your console only motion controls. I feel like I don't know if they expected it to blow up the way it did, but I think they thought long and hard about that one. Maybe they just were thinking like, what's the dumbest controller we could make after the last two? Like, how could we how could we top the N64 and GameCube controller?
Yeah. It's like, well, let's see. The 64 controller was terrible. We did a good controller for our games, and everybody else had a hard time with them with the GameCube.
That's the Nintendo story. That should be the autobiography of the.
Oh no! That 64 controller is garbage. I don't care what system or what game you're playing. That controller needs to die in a fire. So
it's not good.
No, there is no need for that 3-prong attack.
But the GameCube controller is good for like Smash Brothers, Wind Waker, and like Metroid and Super Mario, like all their first party stuff. Yeah,
that's
Mario.
Yeah. Work for Nintendo, man. Yeah, and then then we're just gonna be like, okay, so we made a decent controller that could use some improvement. Maybe we should start looking at like what Sony and Microsoft are doing. And wait a second, what if we went even smaller and separated them, and then had a nunchuck, and then you just like could waggle them and shit would happen on screen?
Yeah, and what if it was way more phallic? What? More phallic? It's like, I like the way this guy thinks. It's like
I had posted this years ago, but I think it was when I bought it was like the first it was like what was it, the Wii Motion Plus. I bought I still had like my original white one that came with it, or with the Wii when I bought it, and then I bought a black one that was a Wii Motion Plus, and I put them side by side, and I was like, even Nintendo's with this stereotype, aren't they? Like, thanks guys, that's cool. So
they upped their game by making the console the controller itself with the Wii U, and then they
as long as you're within 5 feet of the console.
Yes, and then they're like, okay, that was kind of a good idea, so let's make that like way more viable and actually useful, and then also give them.
I was gonna say, let's do that,
and then also
let's
give them
make
a controller
it work.
Too. Yeah, and then give them also a decent controller. So a lot of options. So yeah, it took them a while.
Yeah,
30 years. But they got 20 years, but they got there.
I was gonna say, let's not hate on the Super Nintendo controller. That thing's still nice.
Okay, it's better than that. It's better than the NES controller.
Oh, that's not saying very much. That thing is awful. Yeah. It worked when I was a kid, and trying to use it now, no. They what was it, the top loader one that had the rounded controllers? That was fine. I was good with that.
Yeah, but like a little rectangle is a terrible design for a controller.
Yeah, especially like just with that sharp edges. I think the Famicom ones were rounded off a little bit, if I'm remembering right. Which, yeah, why not?
I don't recall.
Why have corners? Why have hard corners on something I could be potentially holding for hours on end? But here we are questioning Nintendo, a design decision from like 35 years ago. So I don't know what the hell we're doing here, but yeah.
Yeah. They revolutionized gaming, but we'll judge them on their little controller.
Yeah. But, yeah. So anyway, Nintendo's done some weird stuff. But yeah, that whole USB controller thing, I think, is just a happy accident of like, oh, that's right, we made the GameCube adapter controller thing that nobody ever really used and talked about after it initially came out and got sold out, and then nobody could get a hold of it, and now oh boy, that's weird. I wasn't expecting that one. Guys, I think we did something without anticipating, and it worked out pretty well. Cool, right on. Hey, you guys want to start working on Smash Brothers, maybe?
God, they gotta be, right.
Yeah, God, just put a port over. I mean,
I feel like they're gonna. I feel like it's gonna be. It should have been ported already. Honestly, I'm surprised they haven't done that.
You know what? That might be something they hold for next year, just because I mean, we've already got Mario Kart, Breath of the Wild, and Odyssey out in the same year. It's like, do we need another big one this year?
And Splatoon was pretty big too.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and ARMS. Don't forget ARMS. Yeah, forget about ARMS. 1-2 switch.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I did.
Can't be batting 1,000 here all the time, guys.
All right. Well, that's enough about Nintendo, I guess.
Yeah. That's probably enough podcast, honestly. So I think I think we covered a lot of ground here today. So.
Yeah. What's everyone going to be playing between now and our next podcast?
Mario.
Yeah. gonna be very similar next time
Right.
with Mario and probably some more Wolfenstein too.
All Nintendo all the time. I'm probably gonna mess around with. Well, I gotta finish up the second episode of Life is Strange, or start that rather. So
I also have to start that, but for no particular reason whatsoever.
nope, not a follow up to something that happened like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever. So don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also gonna finish up Stranger Things season 2. I'm about halfway through, and it's been really good, really good so far. If you that soundtrack still really good. It's like, yeah, I love the soundtrack for that show. It's yeah, I'm gonna finish that up. If you watch that too, Frankie, maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah, I've only watched the first episode so far, but
Been good.
Maybe I'll watch it, because I watched the first season. I liked it. I wasn't like head over heels in love with it, but I liked it. So
Yeah, it's as a big fan of 80s horror and sci-fi, it's it's a very good show for me. It's all totally my shit. It's I love everything about it. But yeah, so I think that's a podcast, guys.
yeah, I think so. So you guys know what to do as far as social media stuff goes. You can find all our links on the website. I won't bore you with all that, but our personal ones, I'm at Jason Arriola. Frankie is at Franky1029, and John is John Lucero 777.
Yes, I am.
So, if you want to follow us there, if you have any game club suggestions, feel free to tweet them at me, at us, whoever. I don't particularly care who you get them to, just get them to us, because we're looking at kind of digging on our heels on those game clubs. We're just trying to get let me rephrase that. I was the one at fault for not getting the Google Doc set up as quickly as I was saying I was going to. So I got that set up, and we're all kind of like trying to chime in there as far as like what we want to end up doing. And we've got a few pretty big suggestions so far. So I'm looking forward to doing that and hoping getting more people involved. And I will have the Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel one done within the next couple days. So probably by the time you hear this, it'll probably be up. I got about 3/4 of it
I feel like you said that. I feel like you said that like on the last 3 podcasts we've done.
It was the last episode that it had just taken a crap on me. My the power went out, and then I realized
shit happens. At least you still had it.
All the music that I had saved went away too with that, because it did that time machine thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So I had to go and track down all the songs I was using again and find all the edit points. And let me tell you, when you're adding in a fair amount of music and trying to cut out like dead air and just trim stuff so it sounds good in the long run of things, like I want to say like these episodes are disposable, but these episodes are kind of disposable. It's the game clubs that are going to be around, I think, and are evergreen. You want to make sure you spend a good amount of time editing those and getting those just right. An hour can take about 3 hours of editing sometimes.
yeah, we could talk about this off air. I got some tips for you.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and end this nightmare. And the merry band of dipshits are going to end this nightmare. We haven't just said that for a while, so let's get back to that. So, all right, we will talk at you guys next time.